Oh, jeez. What are we going to do? Everything's almost finished. Even though it's never even started. I'm slowly slipping into Faris. My apologies. I like to think there's a lot more aggression in it for Faris, but, you know, these things happen. As soon as she got back to the lab, she yelled at her useless father. Suzuha, I'm sorry. The Hashida family is doomed.
Stop sitting there feeling sorry for yourself. This isn't funny. Stop by explaining why you're acting that way today. You looked so excited when you left this morning. And Mom said you were normal until halfway through the movie.
Yeah.
So what the hell happened?
Well, see, listen to this. You know how movie theaters are cramped, right? So I tried to sit at the far edge, as far to the edge as I could, so I wouldn't get in Amanishi's way. And then I hit this crack, and then the seat almost broke.
What?
And then I tried to support myself, so I grabbed the armrest. But it wasn't the armrest. It was Amanishi's hand. Ah, I see. I see what's happened here. You've committed the lewdest act in anime ever possible. Hand-holding. God damn it, Itaru, you've ruined this family.
Yeah? Mom didn't say anything about that.
I'm telling the truth. It was so soft it could have been an armrest. It was a girl's hand. It had to have been.
I'd see.
You see, I've had a lot of 2D girls' hands, but never a real girl's hand.
And? What happened then?
Amanishi's so nice. I guess she didn't want to shake it off because she didn't want to hurt me. But you know how fat I am, right? I sweat a lot. She must have gotten soaked. She didn't say a word. And so I really started to think about that. You wear gloves, dude. Calm the fuck down. Like, granted, they're fingerless, but whatever.
Oh, I see. That's why you're acting so weird.
I'm sure in her mind and money she was going, "Get off me, you creepy loser perv."
Mom's not like that.
In fact, from the way she was acting, she probably thought she upset him somehow. The problem was what she'd said.
I don't know what I want to do.
What did she mean by that?
I don't know what Mom's thinking.
Suzuha, let's give up on Mom and you can live with me.
You're not making any sense. How am I even supposed to be born?
But it's impossible.
How come you're not even trying? Even if things look bad, you have to keep going.
She grabbed her father by the collar and shook him.
If you don't...
She remembered how sad Yuki looked when they said goodbye.
Otherwise, something awful will happen.
Yeah. And then she heard a car park in front of the lab.
Rahinya!
She recognized the voice coming from below the open window. Oh, is that Faristan's voice? Suzuha let go of Itaru's collar and moved over to the window. Below, she saw a group of people she knew. Okabe Rintaro, Shina Mayuri, Faris Nyan, and Maho Hiyajo too.
Hiyajo's already here? But why is she with Uncle Okarin?
And then she gave a start and turned back toward the room.
Wait! This is bad! We haven't put it away!
Huh? Suzuha pointed at the desk and towards the development room, where the phone wave name subject to change Unit 2 was sitting. Oh, crap! Crap! Hide it!
Okie dokie.
If nothing else, this meant that Maho Hiyajo was coming to the Future Gadget Lab. Suzuha hoped that this meant the phone wave would get back on track. Oh, I got an achievement. And now, here's the one I've been promised. Vega and Altair. There was a small explosion as the room filled with smoke. Okay.
The window! Open the window!
Okay. Okay. Maho crawled out into the living room. Itra rushed to open the window and she heard a man who was probably the building's owner yelling at them. Hey, Hashida! What was that sound? Are you making bombs up there? I'll call the cops! Sorry, the microwave blew up. Itaru poked his head out and apologized to the man below. It took a minute, but the owner was finally satisfied and the argument ended. That really scared me. As Itaru wiped away the sweat, she saw the face and clothes that were both covered in soot.
It scared you? It should have!
Maho was no different. Some of her hair had been burnt off, and the white lab coat she'd gone. Some of her hair had burnt off, and the white lab coat she'd gone through all the trouble of get had turned pitch black.
Explain what's going on. Where did the smoke come from?
Probably the microwave. I picked it up from a dumpster, so it probably shot it out somewhere.
You picked it up from where? What is wrong with you? We're working on the greatest invention in human history. And you're using parts from a dumpster? Why?
Commercial microwaves are expensive.
I can't believe you. Do something about this. Use my credit card if you have to.
Maho didn't have that much money, but this was no time to be cheap. That'd be a big help. Maho wiped her sweaty, soot-covered face with a towel. The white towel turned black immediately.
I can't take this anymore. I'm turning on the air conditioner.
That's not helping. If you use it at the same time as the phone wave, it'll trip the breaker. And I told you, you can't use that air conditioner for more than an hour a day because it's so expensive. I feel like Maho's on the verge of either hysteria or breaking down into tears. These working conditions were abysmal. Was Kurisu really able to create the time leap machine under these circumstances? Just thinking about it gave her more respect for Kurisu.
Fine. But I'd at least like to take a shower and get this soot out of my hair.
Go ahead.
If you even think about peeking, I'll go straight to Suzuha. Remember that.
I wouldn't do that. But for some reason, Itaru responded to Maho's warning by sighing and slumping his shoulders. And actually, I don't feel up to dealing with jokes like that right now. Maho hadn't meant it as a joke. She was extremely serious. I'm in such a bad way that I'm not even playing H games. She'd heard from Suzuha that the day she'd arrived in Japan, Itaru screwed up bad on a date. It was true that Itaru was a lot quieter than his usual self. Mayuri had even said that Daru not playing H games must be an omen of some impending natural disaster. But either way, she didn't have time for his negativity, so she mostly just ignored him and went to the shower room. Are we gonna get more Maho ass? Since Suzuha used the shower regularly, it was relatively clean. There was a good selection of body soap and shampoo, and Suzuha told her she could use it as she liked.
Sheesh. I'm spending Tanabata covered in soot.
That day was indeed Tanabata. Actually, Maho had been secretly looking forward to this day. Since she lived in America for so long, she was interested in Japan's traditional summer holiday. She was especially interested in the famous story of Orihime Hikaboshi. Nailed it. And the custom of writing down wishes and hanging them on bamboo. Since she was here, she sort of wanted to try writing down a wish too. She didn't want to bring it up herself because she didn't want anyone thinking of her as childish, but Mayuri, Faris, and the other girls seemed like they wanted to do something like that. Part of her had hoped that they'd invite her too. That's why it hurt so much to be spending the hot summer afternoon in the lab with Itaru covered in soot. She was thinking about that as she washed herself off when... Maho-tan! Maho-tan! She could hear Itaru calling from outside.
Huh? What? Don't tell me you're really going to peek! I dare you to even open that door an inch. I'll cry!
Now's not time for being cute! I just got word from Mayushi. Okabe might be coming here.
What? Okabe?
Maho's mind started to race. She'd been told that Okabe rarely came to the lab anymore. In fact, after he dropped her off here on the first day, he hadn't come by even once. That's why she'd felt safe going in and out of the lab, but... I hit the phone wave. Just make sure he doesn't find out what we're doing.
Right. I know. Wait, I shouldn't even be here. I need to get back to Faris's place and hide.
Why?
Because I'm supposed to be in Okinawa.
That's how she'd explain her visit to Okabe. If he found out she was working on the phone wave with Itaru, there would be trouble. That's right! Okay, hurry up and come out!
I can't! Not with you standing there!
Oh, right. After she was sure Itaru was gone, she quickly washed the bubbles from the body soap off her body. Her long hair still wasn't dry, but there wasn't time for that. She wiped herself off with the towel and was about to leave the shower room when she heard the door open. Hey, Daru. He was here already? She quickly shut the door to the shower room again. Then she looked down and saw that she was naked. Her clothes were lying on the floor past the door. There was no way she could get them without Okabe seeing her. Her only choice was to stay hidden, completely undressed, and wait for him to leave.
But this is really kind of nerve-wracking.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the door... Hey, Daru. Daru agreed to me as I came inside the lab. He seemed to be in kind of a hurry.
Oh,
Okarin! I didn't see you coming by yourself very often anymore. The room smelled kind of like smoke. And someone must have been using the shower room because the smoky smell was mixed in with the scent of soap. But whoever it was, it definitely wasn't Daru. His face and clothes were blackened with soot. I thought it might be Suzuha, but the lights in the shower room were turned off. What are you doing? Dude, you're black with soot. Oh, well... I got this microwave from the garbage dump, you know? And I was warming up lunch I got from the convenience store and it blew up. Blew up? You okay? Mr. Braun got mad at me. Don't you get him too riled up. You know he'll kick us out. If he does that, you might be okay, but Suzuha will have nowhere to go. That's right. So, what are you doing here? Mayushi isn't here. I need to talk to you. Good news. But I refuse! I haven't said anything yet. Nothing you ever come to talk to me about has ever ended up being good news. Come on, just hear me out. Last night I went to dinner with Dr. Leskinen, and we were talking about the exchange program. Oh, that again? I was keeping in touch with Dr. Leskinen. And of course, the professor knew that Maho was here in Japan. Yesterday, he'd shown me a picture of her taken in Okinawa. I could see her standing in the surf with a blank expression on her face. A friend or a family member must have taken it. Dr. Leskinen had been really nice to me, and I talked to him a lot about going to Victor Crondria. Of course, at a minimum, I needed to graduate my current school and pass the exchange program for Victor Crondria. I actually was telling him about... No, wrong voice. I was actually telling him about you, and he was interested. Huh? In me? Victor Crondria's got something called an information science lab. It brings together hackers from around the world, supposedly. With your talents, don't you think you'd fit in there? I've been inviting Daru to come to America with me, but he didn't seem all that interested. He'd said things like, I can't imagine living away from Otaku Mecca, and no way am I living anywhere you can't get H-games and anime figures. You can, they're just fucking expensive. Again, glancing at my Kurisu figure and my wallet cries every time. He did nothing but give excuses like that. Well, I am a super hacker. I'm sure I'd be fine, but... Why not meet with him at least? You've met him before. I'm busy now. You can make it for one day. Not until Kamima's over, probably. That's over a month away! It's not happening for a while, okay? Give me a break, man. You're full of excuses. You really not want to go that badly? I sighed and sat down on the sofa. This room really was hot as hell during the summer. The windows were open and the fans were running at full speed, but I was still sweating. There was an air conditioner, but evidently he wasn't using it. Daru, you got any Dr. P? I don't know. Maybe Mayushi put some in the fridge. I got up and took a look in the fridge in the corner of the room. There was regular soda, mineral water, and some sports drinks. But not a single Dr. P. As usual, the freezer was stuffed with juicy fried chicken #1. Mayuri really did buy a ton of this stuff. I literally open the door and it falls on you. Wait, was there even more than usual? Maybe she bought from Suzuha too. I'm going to grab a sports drink. Take any except for the one that Suzuha already drank out of. I grabbed an unopened bottle and took a big gulp. I happened to take a look at the snack shelf next to the fridge. Mixed in with the instant noodles and snacks were 5 bunches of bananas. Really? We didn't even think to change the fucking fruit we were using. Mayuri must have bought those too. Oh, I get it! We got a shit ton of juicy chicken and bananas because that's how Daru's been running these experiments again. But still, all that fried chicken and now these bananas. Was she eating more than she had been? She always said that no matter how much she ate, she never got fat, but she bought this many bananas at once. They were all going to turn brown and squishy before she could eat them all. Does Mayuri really need all these bananas? Oh, it wasn't Mayushi that bought them. It was me. Oh. Huh? Daru quickly cut himself off. I turned towards him and he averted his gaze. He'd been acting really weird this whole time. Was he hiding something? You bought all these? When did you start liking bananas? Well, you know, it was Suzuha's idea. She told me to eat some every day because it'd be good for my diet. There was a diet like that before, come to think of it. Some celebrity had gone on TV and said she just lost a bunch of weight on a banana diet. And the next day all the bananas in Japan disappeared from stores. My dad had tried to get in on the boom a little too late and bought a huge supply of bananas, only to see it flare out and most of them rot on the shelves. I remembered that. So, don't buy so many at once. They've already changed colour. This one is green. Wait a fucking minute. Well, whatever. I was hungry, so I decided to take one. I took a banana and peeled the skin. Just don't go overboard with everything, okay? You're right. Yeah. I finished the banana in 3 bites and went to toss the peel in the burnable trash can. And then I noticed something strange. The can was filled with bananas. More than anybody could possibly eat. Over half the can was filled with bananas. And it wasn't just the skins. Some of them were unpeeled, but half rotten, and the summer heat made them give off a nasty stench. I remembered seeing something like this before. We're making gel bananas again! That's right. It was when I was living here a year ago, doing experiments every day. And then my mind flashed back to the contents of the fridge. And that bizarre stockpile of juicy fried chicken. It couldn't be. I plunged my heart into the garbage, not caring about the filth. Wait, Okarin? Daru was clearly uneasy, but I ignored him. I was right. Under the remains of the bananas, I saw tons of boxes of empty fried chicken. No matter how much Mayuri liked them, or how much of a glutton Daru was, no one would voluntarily eat this much frozen chicken every day. I went deeper into the garbage can. And then I found something I didn't want to see.
Daru.
Hey. Daru? What? Bananas and frozen fried chicken. This brings back a lot of memories, doesn't it? Yeah? Must have been about a year ago. We used to do all kinds of experiments like this. We'd waste a lot, so Mayuri would get mad at us. She'd tell us not to waste food. That's right. So we ended up having to eat the bananas that were warmed in the microwave to get rid of them. They tasted terrible. But we were never able to eat
さ
these.
すがにこれは食べられなかったよ。
What I pulled out of the garbage can was a green, gooey mass. It was a thick, disgusting liquid. Like you'd expect to see as if you crushed a giant bug. The goo dripped out of my fingers and splattered onto the floor. It was what used to be a banana. What we'd once called a gel bana. I know it says nana, but we called them banas in the first one. Oops. Dara put his hands to his head. But then he evidently gave up on hiding it. I didn't expect you'd find out this easily. I thought I could hide it a little more. I was actually going to tell you soon because I needed your help. Daru tossed me the towel. Evidently he'd already used it because it was covered in black soot, but I decided to wipe the gel banner off my hands with it anyway. Daru went into the development room and started moving boxes and dust covers. Here. This is the unit 2. And under the table appeared the horrible future gadget number 8, which I built, improved, and finally dismantled a year ago. You put it together again. I wasn't quite sure if I should call it Unit 2 or Version 2. I don't care about the name. Are you serious? I can't believe you're saying that. We used to have a roundtable meeting and have a lot of fun picking names for the future gadgets. That's all dark history. Really? Dara was looking at the dust-covered future gadgets that were lying on the shelf in the development room. There was something like fondness in his gaze. Why the hell was he acting like this? Did he think of that nightmare as some kind of happy, youthful memory? I was about to tell him to go screw himself, but I held it in. Did you forget what I told you? This thing is dangerous. It's not something we should have. But I need to make a time machine in the future, you know? Which means I need to research this as a first step, I think. Daru! I gave up on trying to hold back. I got up in his face and yelled at him. I told you again and again and again and again, right? I told you what would happen because of this thing. I told you what I went through. Mayuri was killed because we made this thing. Kurisu was sacrificed because we made this thing. Your daughter went back to the past and committed suicide because we made this thing. If you've forgotten, do you want me to go over it again? Are you that stupid? Are you so dumb you won't understand useless unless you experiment for it yourself?
You're still the one who's being stupid, Okabe Rintaro.
I suddenly heard an angry female voice behind me. I looked back and saw Maho Hiyosho glaring at me. What? Hiyosho? Oh. Legal lolly for the win? What happened to your clothes? Wait, what are you doing here?
Oh, this is... I couldn't just sit there and listen. Don't stare at me! I'll sue!
It's your fault for coming out like that!
Hold on! I'll go get dressed.
Maho quickly went back into the shower room and came out dressed a moment later.
Excuse me, I'm sorry about that.
You've been hiding here since I first arrived.
Who cares about me?
Did you fake the picture of you in Okinawa that you sent to Dr. Leskanen? Both the professor and I were completely taken in by that picture of her standing on the Okinawan beach. But it seemed we'd both been tricked. It was well made enough that Daru must have been involved. So you didn't come to Japan to just visit Okinawa?
Yes, that's right. I came for that machine with the stupid name. What was it again? Phone wave name subject to change.
I told you what happened because of the D-mails too. Are you going to repeat that?
No.
How? If you send a D-mail, Echelon will pick it up and the world line will go back to from Beta to Alpha. And then Mayuri will die again. I won't be able to save her no matter what I do. She'll keep dying for all eternity. And then I had a terrifying thought and stared directly into Maho's eyes. No way. She of all people couldn't possibly. I trusted Maho completely, and I didn't want to believe she was capable of it. But the terrible machine I'd just confronted had drained me of any kind of rationality. A flashback felt like it was going to hit me any second. Images of Kurisu and Mayuri's death were flashing through my mind. And so I said something I never should have said. You aren't trying to bring back the Alpha World line, are you?
What?
Are you trying to create a world where Kurisu lives and Mayuri dies? What? You asshole! I was not expecting that from Daru, Jesus Christ. There was an impact on my cheek, and a loud sound in my ears. The next thing I knew, I was lying on the ground, face up. It was a while before I understood what had happened. The left half of my face felt like it was on fire. I was punched? By Daru? I'd known him for 5 years, and this was the first time anything like that actually happened. Apologize! Apologize to Maho-tan right now!
Wait! Stop it, Hashida!
I can only imagine how much you're suffering, Okarin. So I'm not giving you any cheap sympathy. But in the end, you're just using that as an excuse. Maho-tan, Suzuha, even Mayushi. Do you know how much they've done for you?
That's enough! Stop it!
Maho grabbed Daru's body and tried to hold him back. Let me go! I'm not going to understand unless I hit him again!
That's enough! What you did was enough, so calm down!
And this time Maho put her hand on Daru's shoulder.
I'll explain the rest. Go wash your face or something. Go!
She pointed towards the shower room and Daru finally seemed to get control of himself again. Fine. He looked a little awkward as he lowered his fist. Normally, he hated any kind of seriousness, so in a situation like this, he would always tell one of his perverted gentleman jokes. But there were no jokes as he vanished beyond the curtain into the shower room. A moment later, I could hear the sound of the water.
Christ.
Maho was looking down at me.
This is your fault for being weird.
You're right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it.
I know that. You're not like that. Come on. Can you stand up?
I grabbed her hand and slowly got up. I'd taken a solid hit when I wasn't expecting it, so my head was still a little dizzy.
今のは聞いた。
When that hurt.
普段優しいやつが
And
怒
someone
る
who's normally gentle finally gets mad. He's really strong.
そうね。
That's right.
しかも自分のためじゃ
When
なく
someone gets mad for someone else's
他
sake
の
and
誰
not
か
their
のために
own,
怒れる人は
I think that's wonderful.
素敵だと思う。
This has changed my opinion of him a little
少
bit.
しだけ見直したわ。
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Somewhere from deep within my chest dwelled some mad respect for Daru. Jeez. Maho seemed a bit happy as she looked toward the shower room.
見直したのは
Only a
少し
little
だけ
bit.
なのか。
だって私への
Because he's
言動が
always
いつもセク
sexually
ハラばっ
harassing
かり
me.
だもの。
もしかしたら
Maybe he's falling
君
in
の
love
こ
with
と
you.
が好きになったのかもしれないぞ。子供がよくやるだろう。
Kids do that all the time, you know.
好きな子に意地
He's
悪
the
する
girls
と
they like.
あ
He's
れ
a
と
kid
同
at
じ
heart, after all.
あいつ
冗談じゃないわ。
You've got to be kidding me.
鈴葉さんを私の
Do you
娘
want
にしたわ
Suzuha to
け
be my daughter?
それはまずいな。
That would be bad, yeah. I chuckled a bit, but quickly stopped and turned to face Maho. The difference between our heights was so great that I was looking down at her.
俺の主観で言えば
If you want my subjective opinion, this world exists
クリス
because
の
of
選択
Kurisu's
のおかげで
choice.
存在してるんだ。クリスがいたから
Mayuri is safe because of
マリは
Kurisu.
無事でいられる。
She can live and be happy.
幸せに暮らしていられる。それを
I have to
俺
protect
も
that.
守らなくちゃいけない。君は科学者だ。
You're a scientist. You're a lot smarter than I
優
am.
れた頭脳の持ち主だ。だから
So,
理解できるだ
you
ろ
can
う。
understand, right?
この世界の説
You
理
can understand the laws of the universe.
ええ。
Yeah. Maho quietly nodded.
それは言ってみれば神みたいな
You
ものな
could
ん
call
だ
it
よ。
God if you wanted to.
神に人間が挑むなんて
It's stupid for humans to
無
challenge
謀だったん
God.
だ。なのに
But I tried
そ
anyway.
れに何回も
And then I tried a dozen
何
times
十回
more.
も何
And
百
then I
回
tried
も挑んで
100 times more after that.
全てが
And
失
I
敗
failed
だ
every time.
無駄
It
だっ
was
た
all
んだ。
useless.
人の傲慢を
God will never
神
forgive
は決
human
して許さ
arrogance.
ない
そうね。
You're right. Maho was looking out of the window. It was as if she was thinking back to her homeland and ancestors.
神というのは
God
私
is a
の祖国
popular guy
や
back home
あるい
among the
は
people of
沖縄の
Okinawa.
人たちの間でもポピュラ私も
I
祖
learned
母
those
や父母から
I learned those wonderful
その
beliefs
素
from my
敵な考
parents
え
and
を教えられ
grandparents
てき
too.
た科学に身を捧げるもので
I'm
は
a
あるけれど
scientist, but I would never mess
決
with
して
God.
神を侮ったりはしない。
それなら
But then Maho shook her head a little and looked up with me with a piercing gaze.
けどね、あなた
The
が
God
盛
you're
んに口
talking
にする
about,
神は
that's completely
それ
different.
とは全く違う。
Her words were sharp, with no room for disagreement.
世界の摂理ですって。
The laws of the universe?
そんなものは
Those were just
ただこの
equations
世
that
界を構
define the
築してい
world.
る数式に過ぎないわ。神なんて立派なものは
The
介
wonderful
在していな
being
いし、
called God has nothing to do
私
with
たち
them.
に解が導
And
け
there's
ない
no
道
reason
理
we
はない
can't
の。
solve them. I was about to respond, but before I could, Maho went inside the development room. I had no choice but to follow her.
D メールとエシロンとの因果。
I'm well aware of the relationship between Echelon and the D-males, and how dangerous it is.
安心しなさい。
Don't worry.
D メール
We've
は
sealed away the D-mail
今
function
の
for
時点
now.
では封印してある。あなたの懸念しているような事態は起こら
What
ない
you're
し、
concerned about is never going to
私
happen
が
because
絶
I
対に
won't
起こさ
let
せ
it.
ない。
I'm not letting us go back to the
アル
Alpha
ファ世
World
界
line.
線に戻させたりもしない。もちろん、D
Of
メールの
course,
危険を回避す
Hashida
る
and I are
方法
working on a
も
way to avoid the danger of
Echelon
D-mail
の
and
向こうが
neutralize
施策を
Echelon.
橋田さんと検討中よ。ただ、
But if we
今は
start
その
spending
検証にリソー
resources
スを
on
割く
that,
より先
there's
に
something we'd have to do
やらなく
first.
てはならないことがある。
Something personal.
個人的にもね。
Maho tapped the top of the phone wave unit 2.
今私たちが研究しているのは
What we're researching
Chris
right now is the time leap
time leap
technology
の方。
that you say Kurisu developed.
じゃあタイムリープ
Then
しかできない
this can
のか
only time leap?
それ
そういうことになるわね。
That's right. My god, it's a lot more compact than the first one. She was right. I was looking at the time leap machine, not the phone wave name subject to change. I could tell they recreated all the improvements that Kurisu had made on the phone wave. The most obvious was the PC and monitor that were connected to the microwave. And connected to the PC was a headset and what looked like a cord covered in electrodes. In this world line, I only knew the details of how the time machine was set up. I hadn't told Daru or Maho about them. In other words, only with small hints, Maho managed to create the same thing as Kurisu.
To be honest, it's really frustrating.
悔しい
Frustrating?
The more research I do, the more I realize I can never beat Kurisu. I can get as far as digitizing the memory data and transferring to its cell phone with top-down search signals. But I still can't clear the biggest hurdle, even though Kurisu could.
データの圧縮
The data compression, right? Maho nodded.
I just can't solve the mystery of how she managed to compress all those terabytes of data.
That was the part that Kurisu would struggle with the most, too. But in the end, with Daru's help, she'd been able to do it.
Did Kurisu tell you anything about it?
She seemed a little unhappy, so she asked me that. Asking for the answer meant giving up on finding the solution for herself, so it meant admitting defeat. Maybe that really was hard for her. Yet she'd chosen to do it, but yet she'd chosen to put the complicating the Ew. Yet she'd chosen to put completing the time machine first. But I had no intention of giving her the answer right away.
前に俺の経験した
You
こと
made me a
を話
promise
した
last
時に
time we talked, right?
約束をしたよなタイムマシンでマキセクリスを
That you
救おう
wouldn't try to save Makase
絶対
Kurisu
に
using the
考えろ
time machine.
That's right.
今でも
Do you
そ
still
の
intend
約
to
束
keep
を
it?
守るつもりがあるかその気がないなら
If you don't,
協
I
力は
can't
できない
help you. Maho didn't answer for a while. But without even looking at her face, I could tell she was being torn apart inside.
もちろん守るわ。あなたとの約束だもの。I promised you after all.
After a long pause, she gave her answer. I couldn't help but laugh.
君は嘘が下手だな
You're a terrible liar.
そんな顔をしていたら
What's with that look on your
す
face?
ぐにバレる
It's obvious you're not telling the truth.
話は終わったな
We're done talking. Then I left the development room. I looked toward the shower room, but I could still hear the sound of water falling from within. Daru was showing no signs of being done.
なあダル
Hey, Daru,
バカは俺だった
I was the stupid one.
本当にすまなかった
I'm really sorry. I spoke, but there was no answer. Maybe he hadn't heard me. It seemed to be better for both of us if I apologized tomorrow.
また明日来るから
I'll be back tomorrow. That was all I said as I headed toward the door.
Okabe-san!
Okabe! Maho followed me. She came up to me so fast that she almost slammed into me.
Do you think Steins Gate exists? Do you really think there's another world line, in the gap between the Alpha and Beta ones, where Mayuri survives and Kurisu doesn't have to die?
それを目指した俺の顛末を知りたいなら
If you want to know what happened when I tried to reach it, ask Suzuha.
結局
In the end, I couldn't beat fate.
あんなのは
Steins Gate is just a
くだ
stupid
らない
delusion.
妄想だよ
You really sure though? You haven't proven that it doesn't exist, you know.
That's just devil's proof though, right? Nobody can prove a negative.
That's right. You haven't proven whether it exists or not. You've given up after one failure.
And you call yourself a scientist. Maho was gritting her teeth hard.
I can't believe you.
What? I almost went out of control and grabbed her by the shoulders. But I managed to stop myself at the last second. I told you before, right? I tried dozens, no, hundreds of times before that!
And remember what I said? That's because the laws of God... That's not because of the laws of God, whatever they may be. The world lines, the time machine, Steins Gate, they're all just part of the equations that make up the world. You failed dozens of times, or hundreds of times. So what? That happens all the time in science. If you fail that many times, then you try 1,000 times, or 1,000,000 times, or 1,000,000,000 times. And then you're certain to find the answer.
You don't know anything! You haven't experienced it! The only reason you can say something so irresponsible!
No. I've experienced all of that more times than I can count. Failures, setbacks, regrets, and the pain that comes with them. And all because of a genius named Makise Kurisu.
Equations don't have feelings!
Yes, but it's always humans who solve them in the end.
We were glaring at each other, our faces close enough to kiss. Maho's gaze burned into me. For some reason, I couldn't bear to look at her, so I turned away. I turned around without saying a word and tried to head out the door. But she grabbed the hem of my shirt and stopped me. I didn't expect that. Do you need something else? I turned around, annoyed. A moment ago, her expression had been so fierce, but now she simply wore a sad smile. It was so different that for a moment I thought I jumped world lines. Huh? Maho whispered to me.
You're a terrible liar too.
Liar? Was I lying? I put my hands up to my face, trying to figure out what she meant. But that didn't tell me what kind of look I had on my face, of course. So I simply stood there, confused. Liar? What do you mean? I'm not lying.
Hashida told me something. He said that a year ago you couldn't even bring up the time machine with you. And Steins Gate was out of the question entirely. You didn't even want to hear the words.
What are you talking about?
But it's different now. The look on your face is the same as the one I used to have all the time. I lost to Kurisu during the experimental trials. I'd lost to her with my papers. I'd lost to her in terms of fame. I was so depressed I was ready to give up. But in the end, I always look at myself in the mirror and yell.
Maho pointed toward her own heart with her index finger.
If you give up trying, it's over. And then you'll never win.
And she pointed it at my left breast.
Your face is the same as mine was. At the very, very bottom of your heart, you're still ready to take revenge. You're ready to take revenge on Steins Gate for making you into a pathetic person.
Me? I still hadn't given up? No. No, that's not true.
It is true. You really are just like me. It's like I'm seeing my own reflection. You're stubborn, and once you say something, you'll never back down. Even if you know you're wrong, you pout like a child and refuse to admit it, which causes all kinds of worry and trouble for everyone else. You know, it would make me a lot better if you told me I wasn't like that. But that's why I understand. When it comes down to it, both you and I are going to stand up on our own 2 feet. Am I wrong, Okabe Rintaro? I'll say it again. All the laws of the world are just equations, and every equation can be solved. I'm going to find the key to the answer, no matter what, and God has nothing to do with it. And I'm going to reach the world line in the gap, where Mayuri doesn't die, and Kurusu is still alive.
After saying all that, Maho was a little out of breath. She had a lot of vitality in her tiny body. Her words, the way she looked, they hit me so hard I couldn't speak.
So, what will you do? This is your lab, right? It can't keep running without you forever.
And then I got a Rhine message. Now of all times. The fuck do you want? Okay, this is mildly concerning. She was running away crying. Oh god. Oh no. Oh god. I've never seen her so sad. What? Mayuri was crying? I could tell that something bad was going on. When she saw my shock, Maho looked over at the phone too. She was crying? What happened?
I don't know. I just happened to run into her, so I said hi. And she was crying. I was really surprised, but when I asked what was going on, she got really upset. She said that it was her fault Kurusu died, and that's why he was suffering. She said she should have died instead. And then she ran away. I ran after her, but I lost her. What do I do, Okabe? What do I do?
Oh, for fuck's sake, she heard us arguing, didn't she? She probably heard this argument. I looked at Maho. Did she hear that? Come to think of it. Daru had come out of the shower room at some point and was standing right behind me. It was Mayushi who told me you were coming to the lab. She said she was coming here too. Then that meant there was a good chance she did. Oh no. I felt like my knees were going to give out. Mayuri existed in this world line because of Kurusu's sacrifice. And that was the one thing Mayuri could never find out. Me, Daru, Faris, Suzuha, Maho. Everyone who knew about the truth had kept it from her. I needed to find her. I needed to find Mayuri. I couldn't let her be alone right now. Damn it! I ran out of the lab.